Hello, and welcome to the question and answer session. My name is Kate Cleary Rodriguez, and I'm the Director of Communications here at ADAPT Community Network. Thank you for joining. We wanted to provide an additional opportunity for you to ask any questions. And in order to do so, you could press the Q&A button on the bottom of the Zoom app to enter your questions, and we will answer as many questions as possible during this session. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our ADAPT staff who will be answering your questions this afternoon. Joining us is Peter Ancelone, Senior Vice President of Education. We have Nicole Vigano, Director of Family Support Services, Kate Gottlieb, Project Connect Coordinator, and Ezra Afamato, also a Project Connect Coordinator. So I think we're having some questions come in, but let me start with one question here for Peter Ancelone. TechWorks and Share lending libraries, are these free, and how long can people supported loan these technology or equipment?
Yes, this is a free service offered by the state that we provide. Usually the loans go between 60 and 90 days. And we can find that the materials that you need to become more successful. So, depending on the technology that you need, again, we can lend, all different types of durable medical equipment and augmentative communication devices to you and your families.
Excellent, thank you. The next question is for Kate. Adult learning and day programs. So how do these programs incorporate community inclusion?
That's a great question. So all of ADAPT's programs for our day programs going out in the community is a really integral part. We really don't want people just sitting in a classroom or sitting at a site all day. We have a great staff that finds community spaces for individuals to go to. We try to go out in small groups as well. There are actually some programs called Day Hub Without Walls, where they don't actually come to a site at all. They meet in the community during the day and then go to, maybe it's the museum for a day, or they're going to Lincoln Center for a show or learning opportunity. So community inclusion is always a big part of any ADAPT Day Hub program.
Excellent, thank you. And this next question is for Nicole. For housing assistance, does ADAPT provide financial assistance or rent apartments? What are some examples of situations we can help people with?
Okay, thank you. Great question. So we do provide a housing assistance program. We do not have apartments for rent, but we have a team of housing advocates that assist folks to navigate the housing network in terms of New York City housing sector, which can be very complicated and overwhelming at times for anyone. So we have trained specialists and advocates that can assist step by step. For eligibility, we operate in all 5 boroughs. Your loved one must live at home and have a developmental disability and be eligible through OPWDD, or they could be head of household and be eligible through OPWDD. So that's just important to keep in mind. And some of the common requests that we get are for advocacy, education, information referral, to learn your rights under the Americans with Disability Act. They liaise between the tenant and the landlord. So let's say the tenant is not holding up their end of the bargain and maintenance is not getting done, or there's pest control issues, things like that. And information on eviction prevention or process and housing court. One of the biggest trends too is assisting people to find low-income housing. So there's a variety of things that the Housing Assistance Program offers, and it's really a great and comprehensive service.
Excellent, thank you. Peter, so for education services, what activities do the pre-K schools focus on? I know we have PT, OT. If you could expand a little bit more on that.
Yeah, sure. Well, we offer the creative curriculum, which we focus on different studies for the children. It's usually a monthly study. Right now, we're in the animal study. We also offer an emotional support platform for curriculum, which is Owls Pals, which is utilized in every one of our classrooms. And then we offer an array of activities, depending on the holiday events for a particular month. And then we also offer our therapy services. Depending on the site, we have OT, PT, speech, and in Manhattan, we actually have vision services. So, we definitely offer an array of activities for the children. We also have supporting activities where we have music teachers come in, we have art teachers come in. Last year we had yoga teachers come in. So definitely an array of activities to keep the children busy and help them in their development.
Excellent. And so Ezra, for home modifications, doorways to independence is what we call it here at ADAPT. Do you have to be OPWDD eligible to receive these services, and what types of projects are covered for this?
Yeah, no, great question. We actually have two funding streams. So we have two different grants. So that means that one of them you actually do have to be OPWDD eligible, and the person who is eligible has to be living at the home with the parent or someone taking care. But yeah, so there's that one stream where you do have to be eligible, and the other stream actually is open to anybody who is below or at 80% of the median income of that area. So that could be if you are aging, right? If you need a ramp to get into your house and you're in a wheelchair. We do chair lifts for stairs. We have small stairs. We do bathroom remodels, so we do roll-in showers, things like that. If you need to widen a door, sometimes we can do that. We also do fences outside in yards and camera systems as well. So there's kind of a wide variety of things that we can do. And obviously Project Connect, we can connect you with our home modifications director, and we can see if you're eligible, and then we can get the process started for you guys.
Excellent, thank you. Another question that came in, are people who are not living in the area able to take advantage of the tech library? Peter, I guess that might be you.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's only people within the 5 boroughs. You're feel free to give TechWorks or Family Connect a call, and we can give you the number for your particular area within New York State that you can borrow or lend the technology that's offered by the state.
And I will add to that. So we are the regional tech center for the 5 boroughs, and there are other tech centers upstate. And in fact, every state in this country has a tech center that you can access. So if you do have somebody in another state, you can look that up as well.
Excellent. And we do have someone who's interested in learning a little bit more about our respite site. Would you be able to speak a little bit about that?
Sure. We have an overnight respite program in the Bronx. It's a beautiful campus. This is an overnight away from home respite program for ages 3 and up. So we do provide transportation if that is needed from every borough except the Bronx. If you are in the Bronx, we hope that you can get there. They might be able to help if you still have trouble being in the Bronx. And there are a lot of hours available, which is great. You can get, I think it's in 180 days, you can have 42 days of respite care, not consecutively, however. So you could have up to 2 weeks at a time with our agency. And the really important thing to remember about this overnight respite is that you need to apply and book ahead of time. We might on occasion have emergency respite. It just depends on beds available. But really, if you think you have a summer wedding to go to and it's a weekend, look into the respite program now, reach out to Project Connect. We'll send you an application and they will review it, and they'll talk to you about the process of getting into the respite. They like you to come and take a tour if possible and see how comfortable your individual or yourself would be in attending our overnight respite.
Excellent, thank you. We have another question. How does ComHab differ from the adult day programs? Maybe Ezra, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, no, I can take it. Yeah, so ComHab is more of a one-on-one as opposed to in a group setting like our day hab programs. So it's a one-on-one working on goals that the person has. So this could be money management, such as, you know, paying rent, doing budgets, things like that. It could be learning more about, you know, that's engaging math skills as well. So people go out in the community. We've had people go to Broadway shows, things like that. We also go to malls. We go to Coney Island. So it's more of a one-on-one personalized experience where one of our staff is working directly with that person. So yeah, great program.
Excellent. So is someone is interested in learning more about the Saturday recreation and possibly what locations we do have those. Feel free to jump in.
Myself.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
So
Kate.
we do have a Saturday rec program. It used to be a general rec program. It is now what is called supplemental day hab. So you do have to be enrolled in the waiver program. It's ages 18 and up. Right now, I will double check. You can always email Project Connect. It is Brooklyn and the Bronx for our supplemental Saturday day program, ages 18 and up. So it's not a traditional recreation program anymore. And again, encourage you to look at each borough's family support services guide to find recreation programs, either with us or with other agencies, borough specific. Get a program that's closer to your home would probably be great for everybody.
Great, thank you. Does TechWorks include technology support for devices such as computers, tablets, gaming, Wi-Fi, connectivity for the autism spectrum disorder population?
Absolutely. You know, we can you know, come to your home with our TechWorks van actually, and you know, show you a couple devices depending on your need. You know, we can also look at the Wi-Fi and how we could help facilitate it better for you. You know, contacting an outside resource to help you out. Our number one priority is the people that we support. So we'll go over and beyond, you know, for the people that we serve. We definitely have a plethora of technology experts in the TechWorks that can help service you and your child's need.
Thank you. Someone is wondering if we offer evaluations for children.
Okay, so currently and Peter, you can answer this a little bit better. So in our healthcare clinics that we have located in the Bronx and in Brooklyn, we do not offer evaluations, the psychological, the psychosocial, where again, 18 and up in our healthcare settings. Within the preschools, they can refer you. We do take children under the CPSC, but we're at this time, my understanding, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, we are not doing evaluations at this time for children.
Yeah, Kate, you're absolutely correct. Unfortunately, we're not doing evaluations at this point. But you can easily, you know, go onto the Adapt Community Network website, contact one of the schools in where you live, whatever borough it is, and the intake coordinator can help set that up for you, and then hopefully possibly set up a tour of one of our programs, because we would love to have more kids in our school and to be able to serve more kids in New York City. So, but we're, you know, Adapted and the education department, all the departments, we're here to support the parents in New York City and Hudson Valley. And we, you know, even within the other boroughs or other parts of the state. So if we can lend a hand, we're willing to do that. But we can set you up with other outside nonprofit organizations that are doing evaluations, especially for preschool education or even early intervention services.
Excellent, thank you. Just looking at the questions. Does ADAPT take measures to ensure your staff prioritize personal safety of consumers when out in the community? I know that's something that's very important to us, but if anyone wants to speak to that a little bit more.
Absolutely. That's safety, health and safety is first and foremost in regard to taking a person-centered approach to abide by whatever has been determined as that person's level of support and protective oversight. That's reviewed with the team, and the staffing pattern is built around the safety requirements for that person. So that is part of the training process, and everyone is aware of each individual's personal needs for safety, and what they need to feel safe and be able to access the community in a safe manner. And that's why, those, instances of that are extremely low.
Excellent, thank you, Nicole. Just looking for some additional questions. Maybe while we wait for additional questions to come in, if you guys want to take a moment and just talk a little bit about your role here at ADAPT, I think that'd be helpful for folks to just learn a little bit more about you. So let's start with Peter.
I've been with ADAPT I'm going into my 9th year. It's been a pleasure to work for ADAPT. I started out as a coordinator of operations and moved my way up to executive level. In the time that I've been here, we expanded remarkably. When I first started, we only had 5 schools. So, and within the last, 5 years, we've increased to 11 schools. Serving close to 1,200 preschool and school age students throughout New York City and the 5 boroughs. This is mission focused work. This is what it's all about, seeing those smiling faces and helping kids who, were unable to walk in September, and then you see them in June going to graduation and they're walking down the aisle because of the great services that we offer, education services and also therapy services. Everyone's here for the kids. They're our number one priority. We look to always, as our CEO, Ed Matthews, says, you need to be innovative and not become complacent. We're always looking to be creative in our programs and really expand the services that we're doing each day, again, it's just a fabulous place. It's great to work with such great people working. A lot of nonprofits, you see everyone kind of stays in their silo. That's not the case at ADAPT. Everyone works together. Adult programs work with education programs work with the residence programs, and everybody leans on each other. It's really a great place to work.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Peter. I guess next we'll go to Nicole.
So my name is Nicole Pagano, and I've started in the field many, many years ago as a DSP, about almost 20 years ago. And I absolutely fell in love with the work, the culture, and I worked in the residential setting. So super familiar with running, group home settings and navigating challenges and things like that within that kind of housing sector. And I came to ADAPT about 7 years now. So time really does fly as an assistant director for community habilitation program and in-home respite. So now I'm the director of family support services, which encompasses a few diverse supports and services, like we had mentioned earlier, Doorways to Independence, so home modification and rental subsidy program, community habilitation. So as Ezra mentioned, that one-on-one kind of goal attainment service, which is wonderful. We also have a subsidy program, housing subsidy program for folks that want to live independently and might need a little assistance with rent. And we also work with Project Connect, which Kate will talk a little bit about, and Ezra, information and referral. So really covering, supports, services, information, and referral in our, inside New York City or outside. So I've had an amazing opportunity to work ADAPT, and it just continues to grow and diversify its services to meet the needs of folks living in New York City. So I hope to be here for a much longer time.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks.
Kate, we'll go to you next.
Hi, Kate Gottlieb, Project Connect Coordinator. And similarly to Nicole, I too started way back in the day in residential services, and I just fell in love with the population and ended up making a career out of serving people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I think the phrase that people use now is a boomeranger. So I worked for ADAPT, formerly UCP NYC. God, I'm not going to say how many years ago, a long time ago. And I was the supervisor of what was called Medicaid Service Coordination, and then went on to work nationally, doing inclusion work with Girl Scouts of the USA, and then just have been back with ADAPT now for about 2 years doing Project Connect. And I love connecting, no pun intended, I love connecting families and professionals with services and the supports they need. It brings me a lot of joy and satisfaction to make sure that everybody is able to access services in New York City, which is really one of the best places to try to get services for an individual with an intellectual and developmental disability. And ADAPT is one of the best places to get these services as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Kate. And Ezra.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ezra. I recently new to the field, but I'm currently in grad school. And I started as an intern here this last summer, working with our family support services as well as our day programs. And now I've transitioned into Project Connect, working with Kate and the whole family services team. So I'm kind of focused, what I want to focus on is getting us more into the community, getting us to fairs. I was recently at a District 75 event, which was amazing in the Bronx last weekend. So I think just expanding our reach in the community and just getting our resources out there, as well as helping connect families with other resources within the city and the 5 boroughs. So I'm really excited to be here and continue on, and hopefully we'll get out in the community more and connect everybody with resources. So thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Ezra. And we did have a couple more questions come in. Do you have to be with ADAPT to enroll in the housing program?
It depends which housing program you're talking about. If it's just housing assistance services, which helps again with landlord-tenant issues, finding accessible housing, no, you don't have to be a part of the ADAPT community. You do have to be OPWDD eligible.
Excellent, thank you. And I have someone who's a little bit is interested in learning a little bit more about ComHab services and kind of all that you offer, and then how to get enrolled.
Okay, great. So for ComHab, we operate in all boroughs. You do have to go through your care manager to request service units. So you look at your schedule and you kind of see where ComHab fits in the scheme of things and activities in school or whatever you have going on. Then you kind of come up with a loose schedule. Once you're approved through OPWDD, you pick a provider agency. So once you pick ADAPT, then you come and you see the director and assistant director for community habilitation. And we start the process, the application process, which is a very simple process. There's really not too many support documentation, not a lot of kind of hoops to jump through. And ADAPT assists step by step with the process. So there's a few support docs like psychological, psychosocial, and updated medical. You would need your notice of decision through OPWDD and your approved units. And then there is a next step meeting, what we kind of meet with the potential applicant or person that's interested in their chosen network of support, kind of determine if we can meet the person's needs, tell them more about the program, other supports and services that we offer that they might be able to benefit from, and ultimately get to know them. They kind of let us know at that point, ultimately what is the outcomes that they're looking for in their life and what goals can we kind of put together to get them where they need to be. So the units stay with the person. So once the person kind of meets with the team and decides that, what, Adapt is where I'm going to invest my units, then they can choose that. And ultimately then the request is made to the state for OPWDD, a final request for enrollment into the Adapt, let's say, agency. And after that, the individual is included in the hiring process. So based on preferences for a potential staff, maybe background, experience, whatever that might be, language, then we start matching up and pairing, and the individual takes part in that hiring process. Ultimately, we want to create a long-term and successful situation. So to do that, we want to work as a team and make sure that all those preferences are kind of heard and followed through so that the partnership is strong and successful. And then we start from there.
Excellent. Thank you, Nicole. Peter, are there any openings in the schools, and how would interested parents learn more about touring our schools?
Yes, we definitely have vacancies at all our programs. Depending on your child's ratio and IEP, obviously. Please feel free to contact Project Connect, or like I said before, you can go on to the Adapt Community Network and click on the education department, and you can actually do a virtual tour of our schools, or you can give the schools a call and we'll give you a tour, a personalized tour, whatever fits your need and time. We'll make it happen for you. So
excellent, thank you. Someone is requesting information about our supportive housing. So if you can speak a little bit to the types of things we support with our supportive housing department.
Sure. I talked about this a little bit at our lunch session. So our agency has 3 different types of housing. We have our ICFs, which is intermediate care facility. This type of facility is for those with the highest medical needs, and that would be 24-hour nursing on site and staffing to help people with any medical needs. So a little bit more medically complex. Then we have our supervised independent residential alternative, IRA, that is better known as like a group home. And those also have 24-hour staffing, but not 24-hour nursing. Of course, nursing is always available should somebody need that. It does not have the nursing component, but 24-hour staffing. And then we have supportive IRAs, which are a little bit smaller. Typically, those might even be an independent apartment or an apartment shared with somebody else, and that has a much lower level of staffing available to that person. So that could be maybe 6 to 8 hours a day. It just depends on the individual that is living there. And just very important to note that agencies throughout the city no longer take wait lists for housing. Everything must go through OPWDD and your local DDRO. And you fill out what's called, or your case manager, your care coordinator would fill out a CROW application. That's a certified residential opportunity application. So always happy to talk to you about the types of housing that we have, but we do not, unfortunately, have wait lists any longer, and it all goes through OPWDD.
Thank you. Peter, are ADAPT schools only serving students in a 12-1-4 ratio?
The 12-1-4 ratio is in our school age program. So that's grades kindergarten through age 21. Our preschools have an array of ratios depending on the site. We service children in 12-1-3, 12-1-2, 8-1-2, and 6-1-2. We also have integrated programming with different ratios where we have typically developing children with children that are integrated with children with special needs. They call that the integrated environment. So that's for students that are age 4. And then we have typically developing classes in 3 of our boroughs for our 3K programs for children that are 3 years of age, and that's free of charge, which is provided by city funding.
Thank you, Peter. So I'm just looking at the time. I think we only have time for a couple more questions. I did see a question about ComHab come through. So Nicole, is there a face-to-face requirement for services?
That's a great question. And recently we were able to confirm this, is that the virtual platform, and I hope that this is in reference to services or sessions happening virtually, but you can do face-to-face, but if there is either medical justification or maybe extenuating circumstances that justify services happening virtually, and if they are still just as effective and the person is able to engage over a platform or any kind of platform, then that can continue. The only requirements there is that those justifications have to be stated in the life plan. And this preference has to be obviously from the person that's receiving the services, that this is what they would like in terms of the service being effective. And services should really be in-person, face-to-face, and can potentially run on this hybrid model if justified in person and virtually. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Nicole. Kate, can you speak a little bit about the process for obtaining OPWDD eligibility?
That is a long process
Yeah,
to talk about. If anybody has an individual question, you could definitely call me. One of the first steps that you have to do for OPWDD eligibility is attend what they call their front door session. So that's really the first place to start, is attending a front door session. Everybody who wants to be a part of OPWDD must attend this session. They will note it in your case file. And if you don't attend this session, it may delay any services. I've had families who've called me, said they've been waiting 6 months, only to find out they never attended a front door session, and they weren't made aware of that for some time. So really important. So just to know on that, I do hold a webinar every quarter. It's called the Roadmap to Eligibility for Supports and Services for Your Loved One. Well, not for your loved one, but it's not the full title. But that next one is coming up in the end of November. And that will be sent out by our Family Connect team. I want to mention, if you want to be part of any learning series that we have, you can email Family Connect, different than Project Connect, Family Connect at adaptcommunitynetwork.org, to be put on the email list so that you can be made aware of all of our learning opportunities, our webinars that are coming up.
Excellent. Thank you, Kate. So I do think that's the end of our time today. I do want to thank Peter, Nicole, Kate, and Ezra for answering all of our questions today. I do want to say that if we didn't get to your question, we're still here for you. You can always reach out to us at Project Connect. It's Project Connect at adaptcommunitynetwork.org. And I want to thank all of you for just joining today. We look forward to working with you and collaborating with you in the coming year. Please follow us on our social media channels. You can find us at Adapt We Change. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, you name it. And so we will be posting all of today's session recordings so you can watch at your convenience. We will also post about all of our upcoming webinars that Kate was just mentioning on our social media channels. So be sure to follow us for more great resources and content. Following the conclusion of this event, you will receive an email with a link to a survey. Please complete that if you can. You will have the opportunity to win an Amazon gift card, and it's just really helpful for us for our planning for next year. Yep, I just want to give Project Connect's information one more time. It's 1-877-827-2666, or you can email Project Connect at adaptcommunitynetwork.org. Thank you again, everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.